Morning. Treated myself to a fairly nice bottle of wine last night. I do regret that now. I'm taking the Passat to work today because I just love the way it drives. Got back yesterday from the garage. Did the service job, changed the oil filter, balanced the wheels because there was a tremble in the steering wheel, and I was charged about 240 euros. I thought that's really not much, because last time I changed the oil myself in the Volkswagen Crafter, which has the same engine, and I spent about 125 on oil and diesel and oil filter alone. Then I remembered a few weeks back when we were looking for window frames, it was as expensive to have window frames fitted, bought and fitted, as it was to have just the window frames. Now that is because, the salesman explained to us, that is because once you buy window frames and have them fitted, then the whole package falls into a different tax category as when you just buy your window frames. So I think the same goes for the mechanic yesterday. I'm not 100% sure how this tax works in France, but I thought it was quite remarkable, and I also thought it was really quite cheap. France is not a cheap country. Oh, not bad. Not bad. Needs tidying up. But that was to be expected, eh? Right, the walls, the top sides of the walls have been curing now for about 20 hours. So they're completely set, but they're not cured yet. That will take a few days. And it's looking good. Actually, it's looking like a mess, but it is good. Most important is that I have these straight sides that I can use as a guide for the forms and to fill back up. I can install a plank on this side and fill that side up. This one here as well. This is all straight. I can use that as a guide to fill up the holes with cement tomorrow. I've run out of cement, so I can't do it today. And here as well, it really does look like a mess, but it's pretty good, really good actually. This is all straight and flat, and I can just fill the holes up with cement. Need to rectify this curve a little. It's too much of a curve in there. I don't want everything straight and 90-degree angles. Want to keep it a little bit organic looking. It's an old house, there's a charm of it, but that bend is a bit too much. I gotta rectify that tomorrow. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. What I also do, today is Sunday, so the shops are closed. Tomorrow I'm gonna buy cement. I'll also buy a few bags of the lime mortar cement, because I wanna give it a little try. I've never worked with lime mortar before, and just do a little trial and error, a little just a little trial, see how it goes, whether it sticks to the wall or whether I need to apply a barrier coat and a primer first. Just do a little bit of research. Today I had my first trial with the lime mortar. I've watched countless videos on YouTube about lime mortar, because I've never worked with it before. It's not a common material where I'm from. This is just a little R&D bit part. I just wanted to mix some up and I put it on the wall and see how it feels and what it does and how you can work with it. I don't know, I may have applied it too thick, or I'm not really sure. For sure is that I need to really scuff up the concrete, because it's too smooth. It won't bite. Further, it's 35 degrees Celsius, the weather today, and lime mortar has to dry slowly, and I have been spraying it every half hour, but it was, I think, still a bit too fast. You can see cracks in it, but that is normal on the first coat. After the first coat is a second coat, and then lime wash. I will fill up the cracks. So tomorrow I'll see how it sticks, how it adheres, and yeah, it's just a little patch to try. Yeah, it's dry to the touch, but it's not cured. Most of it stuck on, and just a little bit fell off. Here part and down at the smooth concrete slipped off. Yeah, this is about a layer of 10mm thick. We'll do some hammer testing tomorrow, see how it has adhered. Further, I've rounded these sharp edges with sanders. I've sanded this lantow to remove all the mortar spots, give it a bit more definition. And I've grinded down the angles. That went really well with that tungsten grinder. Morning. Let's have a look. So it's been almost 24 hours now that the lime plaster has has been applied. Let's do a little bit of a hammer testing. See how well it holds up, how well it has adhered. But in all, it still feels a bit damp. That's good. Yeah, I'm gonna stick on some more in this part of the wall, just as a continued R&D project for now. Because it doesn't really make a lot of sense to do the house now, because I gotta grind channels for electricity, etc, etc. Most of the walls are not prepared. Most of the old rendering has to come off where it's loose, not well adhered. So there's still a lot of prep work to do for me before I can start rendering. But I want to do this R&D right now, so that I'm well prepared for when the time is right to start rendering the house. It's interesting. It's just super interesting to keep on learning and keep on practicing. I really like the ride.
Yesterday there was sun and there was rain. Beauty in the mud.
This wall has the first layer, which is normally called the scratch layer. They scratch it in order to create key for the next layer. I don't have the scratch tool. I couldn't find it. It's like a big comb with steel spikes. But I think the next layer will adhere to the lime rendering really well. It does not adhere to concrete. I'm pretty sure that I need to take that all off and apply a primer. And that primer is a sort of a paint with fine sand in it. So it provides a rough surface on the concrete for the rendering to bite into. The concrete is just too smooth. Now I gotta keep it sort of damp as long as I can, because that is the way this hydraulic lime cures. It's a chemical process and it needs water. And also what I noticed is that a little bit of water makes a lot of difference, really a lot of difference. It was really dry and coarse, and I thought it's just not sticky enough, and I just sprayed a little bit with that can sprayer, and immediately it was a lot more smooth. So water makes such a big difference. Just a tiny little bit of water on such a big bucket. It's amazing. Way more sensitive to that than the Portland cement based mortar. I'm pretty happy so far. It's just R&D for the moment, research and development. We learned from this little wall before we take on a big job. We learned to walk before we start running. Have a look. Good morning. Another new day. I've done some shopping this morning. I got sand, and I got, which is supposedly a primer. A primer to smear on the new concrete and seal it and make it more, I don't know, maybe more rough for the creepy, for the show, for the lime rendering to bite on. Further, I've got more roofing material, and also I got water, because we still haven't got a working water connection in the house. The water department takes their time. So I'm filling up a jerry can of water every so often, and transfer that to a tub I have in the garden for my cement and other concoctions. Yesterday I haven't been working in the house. I have been working on the video, editing the video. That is the last video that I'm going to upload today. So the rendering has really had its time to cure, almost 48 hours, and we're going to have a look and see what it's like, but it's still sticking onto the wall. Yeah, I got this primer coat. Haven't worked with it before. Really need to read the instructions, maybe even translate them with the Google app. The primer coat, what I did read on the instructions is that it needs to be applied in temperatures between 5 degrees centigrade and 30 degrees centigrade. Today it's going to be 38 degrees centigrade. We're going through a heat wave here in France. That said, in the house it's pretty cool. Yeah, it stays pretty cool, and I gotta put it on. I can't pick and choose perfect conditions. That's just not how it works. So yeah, I will prepare that that sous-couche, that primer. Supposedly it's a primer which seals off the concrete, and also it contains some sort of sand in it, which will provide grip for the crépi, for the lime mortar to catch onto. Did you notice that there's no more bumblebees? I've been thinking long and hard about whether I should post this, because it's probably going to lead to some negative response, but I had to eliminate the bumblebees. I'm not really happy with it, but they really left me no choice. I've tried everything. We've tried sealing up their holes. We've tried sealing up their holes with cement. They were digging holes through wet cement. Then I've sealed up the holes with a epoxy based cement. I found other places. They were still going around. And the thing is that eventually they had to move out anyway, because you don't want to share your house with a family of bumblebees. But the real issue is that having 12 or 14, I don't know how many, bumblebees around could lead to a dangerous situation. Nadia got stung. She needed medical care. I don't know how my body would respond if I would get stung. And I'm 15 kilometers from the nearest GP. The neighbors around me, they speak French, but with such a heavy dialect I can't really communicate with them. I just couldn't take the risk. Working here, being stung, I just had to, they just had to go. So I had to take drastic measures, and I had to eliminate them one by one. And now they're gone, and I sort of miss them. Because, you know, they were here always doing their thing. We were both working. I was working on the house, they were working on their house. We both liked this place, obviously, and they actually never really bothered me. I never got stung. I've been hammer drilling right next to their hole. I've been doing everything undisturbed, really. But yeah, I've been thinking real hard before I came to the conclusion that that I had to get rid of him. I've done everything. I've really done everything. I have sprayed a poison in the air before I left every night to just make it unpleasant for them. The next night they were still here. The next day I've sprayed the toxic poison around their holes. They still came back. I sprayed it in their holes. They still came back. I just had to. They wouldn't move. But now they're gone. So yeah, it's unfortunate. Really unfortunate. I just hope that they have been able to live long enough in this house to yeah, to do their thing, to multiply, and maybe their children have found places elsewhere to live. So yeah. Anyway, c'est la vie. So quick update. This stuff works like a charm. If it stays on the wall, that is. I got it to the consistency that it was really tacky, really sticky, and it just smears out great. I mean, you can mold it, you can shape it. This needs a cure for 12 hours, and then we can slap on the lime-based mortar as a rendering. But yeah, it's a sous-couche, it's a primer, so the real stuff will come on top of that. But yeah, so far I'm really stoked. Yeah, looks good. Cool. Wow. Now let's check in well, tomorrow, not 12 hours, because I'm not coming here at midnight. But let's check tomorrow to see what it looks like. So now it is officially, according to the internet, 37 degrees centigrade, which is 98.6% Fahrenheit. Have a look. Morning. Morning for another beautiful working day in Maison Papillon. Nadia and I decided to give the house a name, and we call it Maison Papillon because papillon is a butterfly in French, and the house is like an ugly little worm turning into a beautiful butterfly. Hopefully one day. But we're gonna do a little bit of hopefully non-destructive hammer testing, but definitely some hammer testing. It's part of the R&D. What I want to do before I'm going to cover a lot more with it. Not bad, huh? Just spraying with water to make it a little bit more humid. Today is another 36 degrees centigrade day. That's what, 98 Fahrenheit or so. Super hot. Actually too hot to apply this stuff according to the manufacturer's instructions. But you don't have much choice. I can't wait until the summer is over. Oh, that smooths it out pretty well. Yeah. Yeah, it's still not a very easy product to work with. So coarse, the sand. This smooths it out real nice. It's one of those sponge trowels. Second coat is on. Finally, after a lot of struggling, I had the winning formula. Really lime heavy, maybe 2 parts sand, 1 part lime. Thin, really thin. Not be afraid to drop on the floor and just smearing it on, and then keeping it wet, and then when it's all on, then wetting it again and going over it with the sponge spatula. I'm pretty happy. Yeah, pretty happy. It took a while to getting the right consistency, the right formula, the right way of putting it on, but yeah, I'm happy so far. It took a long time though, but yeah, I think the result is okay. Yeah, have a look. So what the sponge trowel does, it removes the streaks from the metal trowel, sort of fade it out and blend everything into each other, and it becomes one part. It's not super straight and it's a bit wavy, but that's the way we like it, you know. It's not a new built house. Apologies for the really bad lighting. The weather has changed. There's not much sunlight coming in, so I had this huge LED working light to illuminate the wall enough for you to see what's the status. So, what I've been naughty because I haven't followed any of the guidelines that I have found everywhere on YouTube. Everyone says first you start applying the lime mortar by splatting it on the wall. You just throw it from your thingy, you throw it on the wall, and then it sits there without any air inclusions. It pushes the air out once the mud hits the wall and it sticks there. That's your first layer. Then you start making a second layer, evening it out more and scratching it. You scratch it with this big comb like thing with spikes, and you make a diamond pattern, and that will provide the key for the next layer. The next layer will be a smooth layer. You make it smooth over the top of that. Then the fourth layer, another smooth layer. You make it smooth, and then you can do a lime wash. And most manufacturers recommend 1 day drying time per millimeter of layer you put on. I have ignored most of that. It's a yeah, I'm a stubborn guy. I've allowed basically 24 hours drying time between layers. My first layer I smeared on. I didn't want to splat it because splatting it on means that you got lime mortar flying around. I've got expensive electrical tools here. I've got new wood. I don't want to have lime mortar splatting around. So I smeared it on. It was pretty rough. Not too rough, pretty rough. Second layer I smeared on. I made a little bit heavier on the lime because it made it a little bit more fluid. And then I washed it. It started curing, it started drying, and then I washed it. I rubbed it with a sponge spatula with a lot of water and make it all even and smoothing out all the marks that you leave with the trowel. That I've done. That has been curing for 24 hours, and that is what this is like. This bottom part, let me help you. This bottom part is what it was like, this part after that second coating. Now yesterday I was really naughty. Yesterday I decided, hey, I'm going for a lime wash just to see what it does. So what I did is I scraped with a metal trowel all the protruding bits of sand, grains of sand out, made it even more smooth, roughening it up a little bit as well in the process. And then I made a really thick lime wash, just lime and water, and I brushed it on. I didn't have the right brush, I used a big brush not suitable for the job, and I just put it on. And that is here the top layer. This is a thick coat of lime wash. Now lime, when lime dries, it shrinks, thus creating cracks in the surface. And I would have expected a lot more cracks than this. It's definitely not the last coat, not the finished coat. It needs to have one more coat. But it filled the rough surface, it filled, yeah, it made it more smooth. You don't feel the grains of sand anymore. This is still dark, this obviously still needs to cure more. Here it becomes white. And that means that it's dried. I don't know whether that's fully cured, but it's dried. Here in the corner as well, this bit I washed with a heavy, really heavy, thick sludge of lime and water. I'm pretty happy with it. I want it smooth. I don't want it looking like a brand new house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait a few days, maybe a week, and let it fully cure, see what it does. I did hammer testing, as you've seen before. I tapped it with a rubber mallet, rubber hammer, and it stuck on the wall. There's nothing else I can do to test the integrity of it right now, apart from just letting it cure, letting it sit, letting it dry out for a week and see what happens. So yeah, basically 2 coats of mud, and it's going to be taking 2 coats of lime wash, and yeah, basically can be done within a week's time with the drying times, if it works out fine. So with that, I'm going to conclude this video. I am not going to do the other side now because we need to do this whole wall, and before that I need to cut channels for electricity, need to install a stepping stone. There's a lot more. There's a lot more cutting in this house that I'm going to do, which will release this orangey dust from the bricks. It's gonna stick on everything, so you know it's a waste of time finishing it now. I'd rather do that later when there's no more dust created. So with that, I'm going to conclude this video. I just wanted to say a big thank you for everybody who has watched the previous videos, a big thank you for the subscribers, and a really big thank you for all the people who have commented on my videos. Really helpful. I have been able to reply to all of you. Thank you very much for your replies, your comments. It really helps. It really motivates to keep on going with the videos. It also motivates to keep on going with the house. Working here all by myself, there's no one else motivating me but my family, friends and you guys. So a big thank you, and if you take an effort in commenting on my video, then I will take the effort in replying you. That is my commitment. See you next video. Next video we're going to do the roof, and actually I have been doing the roof simultaneously as these walls, but that's going to be a new video. I'm going to completely reinforce the roof while maintaining the sagging dimple that it has on one side. I want it to look old and scruffy on the outside, but I want it to be completely, well, new and very strong on the inside. The roof should last another at least 50 years. And the roof is going to be a very important step for the next one. And the next one is going to take this wall out largely and install 2 new windows. In order to do so, I'll have to break the wall down. In order to do so, I have to support the roof in a different means. In order to correctly support the roof, I have to reinforce the roof. So reinforcing the roof is the next step, the next video, and then the video after is going to be epic. That's going to be something I have anticipated for a very, very long time. I'm really nervous about. Everything could go wrong, could go horribly wrong, but yeah, okay, we're going to do it anyway. Right, see you next video. Thank you.